All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2014 Tulane Football Media Day. Obviously, what a difference a year makes. Last year, we were just talking about the stadium, and now we can see it. So good things are ahead of us. Obviously, our interest in the American Athletic Conference brings us a new day. And just to let you guys know, we're going to have more coverage as far as TV and exposure this year than we've ever had in the history of Tulane Athletics with our deal with the American. Obviously, our staff, as always, stands ready to serve you. Hopefully you guys have all our numbers. Please feel free to contact us anytime if you need anything. On the back table, we have media guides, we have camp schedule, we have media information, our schedule for the fall as well. Our weekly press conferences will start on August 26th. They'll be in this room. We'll probably be in this room for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, and then move into the stadium hopefully around the southeastern week. We'll be in the multi-purpose room. As usual, Monday's a day off. There was no availability on Monday. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, I sent out credential requests, so if you haven't got those back to me, please do. Our first game is on the road at Tulsa, our first American game on August 28th. Against Georgia Tech at 3 p.m. I know a lot of you guys have questions about parking credentials. We will be sending that information out to you in the coming weeks as far as where you're going to park. We do have some space limited close to campus, close to the stadium, I should say, close to the stadium, and then live truck parking close. So for everybody who covers us on a daily basis or often, we'll take care of you. Finally, I do have an announcement, and we're going to be sending this around. On Monday, this coming Monday, August 11th, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, Mike Oresco, will be in town visiting. He's visiting all the new members, East Carolina, Tulsa, and us. He will be in town. We'll have a press conference with him, our new president, Michael A. Fitz, and our athletic director, Rick Dixon, at 1:30 in the Westville Terrace of Ullman Stadium. We're going to be sending out an advisor here in just a few minutes to everybody, and then I'm going to pass one around. So that's the housekeeping items. If you guys have any questions, let us know. The last thing I have is for everyone who comes on campus, obviously Rosen Lot, you need a parking pass. We have those available. Please see Curtis. We'll need all your vehicle information, but we'll get you a pass for the year. The one thing about this pass, I'm sorry to say, it does not cover game day, but it covers any other time you come to campus to cover us. All right, and now without further ado, in his third season as the head coach of the Tulane Green Wave, Curtis Johnson.
Those guys must have got raises. First of all, I'd like to welcome you guys to our Media Day 2014. This is our third season. The one thing I love about being here and about being a staff is so much support here. The new president, he's very, very supportive of the new conference. Conference commissioners coming down. So Michael Fitz has done a fabulous job, integrating the new conference. Rick Dixon has done a magnificent job. When you take a job and you say, we're going to get a new stadium. I tell recruits all the time, we're going to get a new stadium. We're going to get a new stadium. Up at other places, we never got a new stadium. But now we're excited about this new stadium. It's coming. We're excited about our new conference. This will be a very, very great conference for us. We love to be in the companies of some of the teams that won national championships in this conference, such as UConn. They won women's and men basketball. So did Central Florida, what they did last year against Baylor University in the Fiesta Bowl. I felt that was one of the greatest things about this conference. And another thing, I just want to appreciate our staff. Most of our staff is here. We've been staying together. We've been sticking together through thick and thin. I feel like those guys are our brothers. We do have some staff changes. We can talk about those. But I want to really get to the questions as soon as we can. Any questions? Yes, sir.
CJ, players always say second, third year, the game is slowed down for them. As a coach, how is the game slowed down for you?
Well, the game is slowed down, I guess, a little bit, but just a learning curve. All of a sudden, it began to slow down, but now we're in this new conference where we got new opponents. We got 9 new teams on our schedule. The only 2 teams we played was Tulsa in the beginning of the year, and then we got East Carolina towards the end of the year. So this is going to be new for us. So, but new is good because it kind of brings us pep in our step and a spark in our little glide. So this is going to be good for us.
You kind of alluded last week that you were going to sit down and really evaluate the quarterback situation, which, last season you were going to wait all through camp and kind of make a declaration. Is the approach a little bit different this season? Do you have more information maybe coming out of spring?
Yeah, you know what? I thought spring was outstanding. I thought Tanner Lee did the best during the spring. Devin Powell was right there, and Nick did some good things. Nick's also far in camp. Nick's looked pretty good. Tanner's still looking great, and Devin's looking good too. And then Glenn's very impressive also. But what I want to do first is after this first week, after we have this scrimmage on Saturday, I want to know the 30, 40, 50 players who are going to play and going to help us win as many games as we can. And once we know that, it may be 2 or 3 quarterbacks, it may be 1 quarterback, but who's going to help us win? And then from there, we're going to pick and choose what positions that all those guys will be in.
It's an earlier process, in other words, than what you were dealing with last camp?
Well, last camp everything was so new. Last year we didn't have Nick on campus, very much, and then we didn't have Devin was here some, and when Tanner wasn't here, so this is a whole different, ball of wax. These kids know the offense, they know what they're doing. So now it's just who's the leader of the program, who's going to lead our offense, and that's what we're waiting on.
If you end up with Tanner, why is he the guy?
I think whoever leads. I think the leadership in the team and the quarterback being a quarterback. What we don't want is we're looking at turnovers. We're looking at just stuff that a quarterback needs to do. And I think the team, whoever the team rallies behind the offense, I think that's the guy that we're probably going to go with.
Was there a particular area of your quarterbacks last year that disappointed you?
Well, just the turnovers. I don't think you can win any games with turnovers. We had an outstanding defense last year. I thought without the turnovers, we could have won maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe more games. So I think the one thing that was most upsetting was just turnover after turnover. If you eliminate the turnovers in Pop Warner, you got a chance of winning.
I know last year you said you were okay playing multiple quarterbacks early in the season. Would that upset you this year if you didn't have one guy and weren't able to play him, or are you okay with maybe playing multiple?
Not at all. I don't think it'll upset us. But I would like to get some continuity. Now that we got continuity on the defense, I think we got a good look at these receivers. We kind of know what direction we're going in. The backs and the offensive line is much better. So I think if we can pick a guy this year, a little bit different, if you can pick one guy and you can go with that guy and he's leading the team, then that's the guy we're just going to roll with.
CJ, are you curious at how your team responds to having success? Having success in a long, long time. Get to a bowl game, winning record and all that, and now it's coming back and expectations behind it.
Absolutely. You know what? You always wonder, how do you handle success? And one thing I would say what our team has done, 95% of our team was here all summer long. They worked extremely hard. The classroom situation for the most part, all that's beginning to clear up. I don't see too much, stuff that's going to be any different. Then you look at how we handled the sun yesterday and how those guys worked yesterday and how the training camp's going. I thought they worked extremely hard. We were outside yesterday and I wanted to come in, but those guys were still running. I conditioned after practice. The first time in years at outdoor practice, those guys ran like champs. So maybe we too easy, or I gotta just kick it up a little more.
No disrespect to the conference USA opponents that you guys face all the time, but as you mentioned, this is a step up league-wise and opponent-wise. Do your players get a sense of how difficult it will be to repeat what happened last year in a tougher conference?
Absolutely. If they don't, there's something wrong with them. You just turn on the film. I alluded to Central Florida earlier. You just look at Central Florida, what they did. They lost one game. They're 3 10-win seasons. They lose one game. Cincinnati's tough. We got to go up to Connecticut. We're going to play a team up there. We got 2 schools in the state of Florida. You look over in the state of Texas. There's some quality football team. Houston is a speed team. So they know that this will be a step up in talent. And look at our non-conference schedule. If I wouldn't have gotten a new contract, I think they're trying to get rid of me with Georgia Tech, Duke, and Rutgers. And Southeastern may be the best of all of them. So this is one of those deals where you just got to wait and hope these young men get ready to play because we got to strap it on this year.
Normally this time of year you have suspensions to announce. You try and make a point early on in the season, the tone that you want the players conducting themselves. Is there anything brewing in that department?
Nothing right now. Nothing that I know about.
You mentioned academically you didn't see any changes. Kelly's been out. Anybody other than him that you think?
I have not seen anything else. We still waiting on a couple grades, but as of right now, everything is everybody's practicing. Knock on wood.
CJ, 2 important people you lost with Davenport and Mosley. You feel like you replaced them?
No, I don't think you can replace guys. You know, both of those guys signed NFL contracts, and so I don't think you replace guys like that. But I tell you what, we got a lot of young players. You know, I like what Redwine's doing. Corey Redwine's having a sensational camp thus far. Then you look at Tanzel Smart, who probably was the best one last year, a little bit overlooked. And then you look at these freshmen, Darren Williams, he's playing inside and outside. He's doing some stuff for you. You know, Royce LaFrance can go inside. So you just got to do it by committee. And if we can get some four-man stops and some four-man pressure, then we'll bliss a lot less.
CJ, you got a strong defensive backfield. What do you feel like, besides the defensive backfield, is the strength of this team?
Well, I think the defensive line with numbers. I think we'll have a pass rush with some guys that we got, you know, some freshmen, and then, you know, we got Dale Runa and we got Quinlan Carroll, who are very explosive players. I think those guys will be, you know, pass rush. I thought that was the one thing that we didn't have last year. I think Tyler Gilbert's in his second year. He's playing sensational so far. So I think, you know, we got some things going. I think that D-line. And then Nico Marley is one of those guys that you got to, you know, you got to pay attention to. He's a midget, but he's a good player.
How valuable is Lionel watching to what you're doing here? How much trust do you have?
Oh, absolutely, all the trust. He and John, I'm telling you, those guys back there, they do a magnificent job. Lionel's taking that secondary. As you alluded to earlier, Renee, our strength of our team is our secondary, and we just keep going and going and going with those guys. And then, you know, look what he's doing defensively, schematically. I mean, I think this guy he's a rising star.
He did some unconventional things last year. I think the last 2 games he started 6 DBs. The trust in Nico Marley to put him out there right away and stuff like that. Is that one of the things you like about him? Is
Look.
to try to fit guys into his system.
Love it.
Fits his system.
Love it, love it. I think that, you know, all those defensive coaches over there, they collaborate together. I think Lionel does a lot of it, but John does a great job. Jason is phenomenal also. Now we got Quan, he's coming, but those guys over there, they're very, very good staff, stellar. They understand how to use use what you got, and then, you know, whatever else we don't have, we'll go get the next year.
It looks like there's some big changes with the defensive sort of scheme. So looks like you're looking for more speed up front and smaller.
Well, that's what we got. You know, we don't have big Davenport, we don't have big Wormsley, we don't have those guys like that. But, you know, they're shorter, but they're faster in the athleticism and the speed of the overall defense. With some of these young kids now, I mean, we have some guys who can really, really run. This is the first time that you would say, what is Tulane? You look at our defense and say, well, they got speed on defense. You turn over their offense, you look at these young receivers, they running. These backs are running. You know, we got some real guys who can really get down the field.
Can you replace Jordan Batiste? You were looking at Jared Franklin. He blows his knee out. You know, who's the new?
Well, that's one of the things in camp. You know, you just don't know yet. But I like our three safeties. You know, I like Leonard Davis. You know, he's one safety that can just fly and run. You got Darian Monroe, or you gonna move him up or back, and Sam Schofield and Brandon LeBeau. All those guys are playing so well. You know, it's just you kind of know. You just got to look at camp and fit these guys in the right positions.
How much is that is interchangeable with Leonard Davis, Darren, being able to move one in nickel, one to safety? Is that interchangeable in the middle of a game?
All three of them, and it goes back to the days of the Saints. What the Saints did last year, they played with three safeties. You know, they played with more three safeties than anything, and I could see us doing some of that because of the caliber of athletes these three guys are.
Offensively, it hadn't really been a fair fight the first 2 years. The first year, you had no offensive lineman with any experience. Last year, you had Nick's injury and quarterback. Do you feel like this is the first year where Price is going to be able to really run what you want to be run?
Yeah. You know what? I thought, you know, one thing that we did do, and Aaron, you know, Aaron's chomping at the bit. He does. Eric. Excuse me. I got Eric and Aaron, but Eric chomping at the bit to really run what we gonna do, and that's not what we game planned before, because we knew we recruited to defense. We did everything towards defense, and he kind of got a little bit of, you know, whatever what was left over. But now I think the offensive line is bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. They played together a year. They know what we're doing, you know. So this will be great. And I say one thing about Eric: he's been positive through this whole thing. But look, we played with a true freshman starter. That's unheard of in college football. A redshirt freshman, unheard of. A first-year player who never played before in Arturo, who I think was one of the better ones, and a center who was up and down, who was hurt half the year. So, you know, last year it was a tough year for us, especially with the offensive line. I think Coach McDonnell got these guys going, and we're going in the right directions.
CJ, how do you replicate what Ron brought you as a receiver last year? You got a lot of young guys, I guess, with potential, but, you know, he was always that safety valve that, you know, the quarterback could throw to last year. He always comes to the catch.
I think what you do now, I don't think you, again, it's guys, I we look on Twitter every day, we follow our guys, we got 6 guys, and all of a sudden you look up RG3 talking about Ryan Grant is just the most dependable, unselfish, best, what he wants in NFL receiver. He spent about a minute and a half talking about him on last night. But I say this, I think you got to kind of do it by committee. I thought what we did with the Saints, I don't think we ever had a true number one guy, but you just did everything out of committee. You did, you had to get your speed guys on the field along with the guys who wasn't as fast, but the great hands. And, Keith does a great job with him. He'll figure out who plays what and where, and then all of a sudden, I think those guys will be good, and it'll be very good.
Does Taryn replace Kedrick a little bit? Is he been kind of swap in there?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if he does that. I know Taryn has his game, and Taryn's a physical player and a big kid who can go up and he can catch the ball well. So we just got to figure out where does he fit in and what we want to do with him. Kind of like, you get Colston, he does something. Lance did some things when I was with the Saints, Robert, and so did Devery. So you just figure out. And then also, these tight ends now. This Charles Jones, I don't know. I mean, he's just making play after play in training camp. He has to be the star of the camp thus far because, every time you look, he's catching another ball, running another great route. And, we just got to – we'll see in the scrimmage if he can block.
I feel like the returning receivers have more potential and talent than they showed last year. Simply disappointing them.
Well, I don't think it was more disappointing in receivers. It's just sometimes we didn't have the opportunities that we wanted to. I love Justin Shackelford and Xavier Rush. I think they're going to be magnificent players for us. Great guys. They know the offense. They're tutoring these young kids. These 3 young receivers, and I could put Devin Bro in there. He'll be the 4th, but they're going to be something special around here. You're going to see something around here that we probably hadn't seen in a number of years with, Teddy Veal, Leandre, James, Taryn Ankalaw, and Devin Bro. This future is really bright here at the receiver position.
Does their job get tougher because they don't have Grant as that guy that teams really had to pay attention to, maybe put a safety behind, corner on him? They don't double team anymore. There's no one to double team when it's receiving group yet.
Well, I would say this, though. I think the overall group is a lot better because, we've added some speed that we probably never had. We've added some athleticism that we probably never had. So, I just want to see guys, come out, play hard, continue to progress in camp, and we'll figure out how they play and where we put them and what we do with them.
You mentioned that boost in speed. Obviously, quarterback comes back to that. How important is it to be able to get the ball down the field? Clearly, Devin and Tannerly have shown some of that ability. Are you more worried about that with Montana, or what's kind of the most important pass?
What I think the most important thing right now is leadership. It's team leadership and just getting guys in the right play and doing the right things. If we can get a leader, but you also love to have a strong arm, strong enough to get it out there because what it does is create big plays. And I think that's one of the things we got to get more of, more big plays.
Coach, as a guy who has coached offense so much, have you surprised yourself with the fact that you're such a defensive coach now?
Look, I can't sleep at night about it. I hate it. But no, not really. I just think our defense was the one strength of our team. And so one thing of being I guess a more mature coach, I had to mature myself into saying, let's not pour everything on offense. Let's not just go out and get a bunch of offense recruits. And one of the philosophies around here that we've said through the whole time, I think in order to build this program, we got to build it through the defense. Even around college football, the great defenses are the ones who win in the bowl game. They're the ones who win in the national championship. And you watch the best defense who win in this playoff system. So I just think defense is the way to go. And I think now that being in our 3rd year, we could come and we could kind of balance these classes off with offense and defense.
But do you think it's hard to convince a young man who was a very good player in high school on offense that he should play defense?
Well, I guess it's hard. I don't think in our case, I can tell you the one situation we had, it was with Lorenzo Doss, and Doss was fine, but his parents wasn't, and his family wasn't. I had the whole family down on me, and they came down on me, and for about a half a year, they thought I was the dumbest coach in America. Then all of a sudden, Doss started picking ball off after ball off. Now he's on the Thorpe Award list. He's on this list and that list. He's All-America. Now they kiss me every time I see him. I don't want the dad to kiss me anymore.
So do you think that his success will make it easier for you to sell that in the future?
I don't know if it'll make it easier, but I do have an example of it, though. It's not that I'm just pulling straws out of the air. I can tell a kid right now, here's an example. Lorenzo Doss, great receiver, St. Augustine High School, was one of the best receivers out, track guy. All of a sudden now he's playing defensive back, and look what he's doing. He's on every list and he's getting every award he's mentioned. He was the most mentioned, recognizable person in our conference. It was Lorenzo Doss. The commissioner even said him in his speech. So, yeah, sure, I love to convince more and more, but I think it's easier for us now to make a convincing, argument about that.
On that point, you're accountable community-wise for decisions you're making on the field. You brought up the point that, you make a decision in a game and you run into the parents in the grocery store. You have so many local athletes and you have so much more local interest in the product. Good or bad, or, what's that
Look,
like?
here it is. It's great. They're paying attention. Now we finally, we becoming pretty much, we getting to be relevant. Our coaches have done a great job. So all of a sudden our coaches, they getting recognized. People are noticing who we are. So it kind of feels good because I'll take the blame for it and I'll do that. But at least we being noticed and everybody, we not an afterthought right now.
Give me an example, maybe from the summer where you got noticed as.
Well, I'm gonna give you an example about Coach Price. Coach Price was in the supermarket one day, and a lady came up to him, and she knew his son's teacher, and he didn't know his son's teacher. So she recognized him and recognized the teacher. So we are getting recognized.
That's a big step. I mean,
Yeah.
that wasn't there the first couple of years, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Today, it's kind of official, the power conferences are gonna break away and do their own thing. You're not in a power conference. Does that make your job harder? Do you think the fact that an athlete is going to get maybe a better financial deal at another school makes it harder for you to recruit?
Well, I would say this before we say what's going to happen and what's going to happen. Let's see how the dust really settles. And when you talk about power conference, I would say this: we could break away, we could do whatever we want, but UConn basketball proved who's the power in any conference because they won it all. UConn, men's and women, they're in our conference. They won both of them. And Central Florida proved to everybody in America. Not one person picked Baylor. I saw you guys' picks. No one picked Baylor, and all of a sudden they beat them. So here's the deal to me. All you got to do is you continue to just play ball, you recruit well, and you just win. Winning solves everything. If we just continue to win, we'll see where it all ends up.
Is it
Yep.
helpful to have a stadium that's going to be full?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? And I've always said this, the Superdome is a pro venue. It was great when I was at the Saints. We had our time there. It was fabulous. But now all of a sudden, we got our own. We can walk to the games. Everybody can come see us play. I think there's a renewed excitement about Tulane football. I think the community is really behind us. Look at the season tickets. Look where we are. And everybody's worrying about parking. It'll be all right. Let me tell you, I went to a Yankees game. I had to catch a subway. Me and my wife, and we were afraid. So many people on the subway. But it was good though. I enjoyed it. And everybody after the game, they just started walking to the subway again or to the bus. So it'll be all right. But so I think the stadium is a big boost for us, for the New Orleans, and for the uptown community.
Is
Parking
Tan,
your spot?
I don't have a spot yet. If you tell me where it is, you can. I don't have a spot.
does Tanner have the personality to lead this football team?
I think all of them do. I think absolutely every one of them. Tanner was fine at Jesuit. He had a great personality at Jesuit. It's just, just what you want to see. It's kind of what you notice on with the team. If Tanner's saying the right things and doing the right thing and his numbers add up, we trot everything and we compare everything, compare and contrast, then, he will be the guy.
What is his strength?
Oh, he can
Mike
throw.
New said he could see him in the NFL one day.
Yeah, he could throw it. Look at you bringing Mike New up. He could throw the ball. He's extremely accurate. He has a very, very strong arm. He's big, and he understands. He's smart. I don't see a glaring weakness, but he just hadn't had the experience.
Do you have to sometimes, like right now, like Tanner, kind of put aside the fact that he is a freshman, never really started the game, played the game, but maybe what Trump said is the fact that he just has overall talent better than most of the
Yeah, I agree. You always, what keeps guys up at night is the unknown. That's what keeps me up. And you hadn't seen Tanner do one thing in the game. So you just say, okay, now are we better with this product or that product, or can we go with that with Tanner?
I know you still got a long way before you get there, but there's gonna be so much hoopla about the Georgia Tech game, all right? And then the next week, you gotta come back and play a team that is very good.
Best team probably on the schedule.
Best team on the schedule.
Maybe.
Talk
That week for sure.
Is that a series of sleepless nights? That week for sure. Is that a series of sleepless nights worrying about a game like that?
Absolutely. You know, you can't. You know, one thing about a football season, you got 12 games to prove, quote unquote, what you've done that whole year. And so when you have a schedule such as you got to go on the road and play a team like Tulsa, who was probably the flagship of that conference, Conference USA. Last year they took a little dip, but we all know they're going to be back. Then you play them on the road. Then you come back. You're playing a Georgia Tech team that's been to bowl game 12 years in a row, and they run this option that no one in America has stopped. Then the next week you play Southeastern, who one of the scouts told me that's the best team on our schedule. So you know you just gotta you gotta hope your kids harness what you're doing, and you hope that they're detailed and they play competitive and they do the things that they should do.
I know that you pride yourself on making this a very local roster. The way the Southeasterns come up, how much are you competing with those guys for the same players?
Well, not only this, everybody's down here now. You know, the Arizona teams, the California teams, the everywhere, all the teams are. You know, the thing that we got to do is we got to trust the coaches, and we know the coaches. We have relationships. They're local guys that's on our staff. You look at Quan Drake and David Johnson. You know, we hired Wayne Cordova. We hired Dietrich Belvin from Florida. So those are the places where we're going to make our money at, and that's the stuff that we're going to do. So we just got to trust the coaches, trust our relationships, and hope that we can get some of these kids to stick with us.
What do you think makes you guys the most attractive option to these local players?
Well-
Because I think six years ago, nobody thinks one really coming here.
Well, I think this is the best school in the world. I mean, the school costs about $70,000 a year. I think the faculty's done a phenomenal job graduating kids, and they've done a great job in this community. You look over here, it's Audubon Place, it's landlocked by the zoo, and you got Loyola next door, and then Claiborne Avenue. So it's a very safe atmosphere here. And then also you look at now the football. We got football on campus for the first time in about 40 years. We're playing in New Orleans. In New Orleans, there's a college football game every other week. That's almost unheard of, and now you got one. So it'll be very attractive. If you ask me, I like red beans and rice and gumbo. I'm staying home.
CJ, Ryan Griffin was a finished product his senior year, but do you see any similarities between Tanner and Ryan in many ways?
Not according to Sean Payton. He was not a finished product. But Ryan Griffin's playing outstanding at the Saints. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. You know what? They are very similar in some things and dissimilar in other. When Ryan was here, Ryan was so smart, and he just knew he had his own he had his own way of reasoning and seeing things. Tanner is a young man who's learning. He's learning what to do. I think Aaron Price and Mike New's doing a fabulous job getting this young guy playing. The difference is, and I would say this, and nothing against Ryan, Tanner Lee's arm and Devin Powell's arm are very, very strong. They have cannons for arm. So that'll be a little bit different. So we're going to take probably some more shots down the field with these guys.
Is there a timetable with Robert Kelly, or when do you need to make decisions with running backs? Is that kind of a loose?
Well, look, here's the deal. Robert's been in this offense, and he's been practicing, and he's been doing stuff. Robert probably could come and do the protections right now. No different than Derek Stroger. Played running back for us 1 year. Then he played DB. The next thing you know, he goes to the Saints, and then now he's playing running back, and he hadn't missed a beat. So I think Robert just got to get his situation straightened out. And once he does that, we'll all know in time, and hopefully we'll have him back on the field pretty soon.
Naming interior defensive line earlier, you didn't mention Calvin Thomas.
Like him.
See him fitting back.
Oh, yes, he's always in the mix. I just can't name them all. Calvin gets to be a lost guy sometime because he was redshirted last year. He had various injuries, but he's in there. He's tough. He's big. He played as a true freshman, kid, and I can just see him sacking a quarterback several times. Any other questions?
When you took this job 3 years ago, was this the season that you kind of envisioned in your mind as to be something where you could really, things could start to take off for you, the stadium was in the works, maybe the conference, was in the works. Now you've got these new things, these new homes that you can help sell the program.
Yeah,
Success you had last year.
You know what? This was. I don't know if I really looked at that far down the line. When I first took the job, I asked Sean to keep my job open for a couple months first before I really got. I kind of had my toe in the water, but I wasn't all in. But no, but here's the thing. you know, you get into your third year of a program. One thing about our kids, they've had some success. You know, it's the first time they've gone to a bowl game. Anyone's here has gone to one. And you say all the hard work, you know, the worst thing in the world is you work so hard and you don't realize any of your dreams. So these young men, they've gotten one dream already. They got an opportunity to go to a bowl game. So they kind of smell it a little bit. And now all of a sudden, here we go. We're in a bigger, newer conference. We're on television. Almost every game this year, if not everyone, will be on television, some form or fashion. They get to go in new venues to play. You know, they get to play in a brand new stadium. You know, this is an exciting year for us, and I'm glad it's here. Anything else?
Anyone else?
Where'd you get that tie? It's awesome.
Well, I got my wife over here, and I got my two fashion coordinators over there, so they know what they're doing. It's not me, I'm telling you.
I'll see if they're available for comment.
Thank you, guys.